I don't know why, there was a few of us as judo and we were stood at the front and we got asked like, what's your dream? And I said to win the Olympics. Yeah, it's hard and it can be, so I say the whole team thing, but that can be quite a lonely place. Like you've obviously got to deal with that weight loss. I think my head isn't good at stopping and saying when. So I felt like that my body took that decision from me. And I thought, I don't like to drink on a school night, but I thought it's been so hard, maybe I need one. And I came home and
Hello, and thanks for tuning in today. This week's episode is brought to you in conjunction with Upskilled and their mini MBA. If you want to get the skills and knowledge to help move you forward without all of the big expense, then this mini MBA with Upskilled is the right way to go. Follow the link in the show notes and you can get $500 off. Gemma, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today.
hello, thank you for having me.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to our conversation mainly because of moving. I'm really interested in that moving to teaching and how that sort of came about, but also how you have sort of remained attached to the sport. And so many athletes that I meet, we lose that connection. So I think it's wonderful, or at least to go through how that has remained for you. That would be great.
Yeah, no, very happy to talk about that. Literally did come from school, my after school judo club. So kind of buzzing from that because all the kids were really
Yeah.
excited and wanting to carry on fighting. So I'm like, great, that's what I want. Let's keep that going.
Yes. Yeah, that is. Well, let's keep that energy flowing as well for this conversation. As essentially look back in, I suppose, in your career and how you've managed to find a bit of clarity or find clarity in your career path right now. So, for those listening and watching who don't know you, Gemma, please give us that quick intro. Who are you and what are you up to nowadays?
So Gemma Howell, maths teacher slash I have one day a week of judo, my favourite day. I judo background in a nutshell. So I've two-time Olympian, went to London and Tokyo Olympics, the COVID one. European champion. That was the highlight probably of my life, and I'm not sure I'll ever beat that feeling. Silver at the Commonwealth Games for 25 years, retired 2 years ago. I think my body kind of told me it's had enough. It's 12 operations. And I was like, okay, maybe it's time to listen to it.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to walk in 10 years' time. Now, maths teacher, my whole family are teachers. So I feel like it's all I've ever known. And I've wanted to be a teacher
Mhm.
for as long as I can remember. I also love stationery. That helps.
You
We
love
have some,
stationery.
yeah, we have some
So,
really nice pens.
of all of the things that you've been saying, isn't it interesting? The most remarkable bit is she loves stationery. That's
Brand new book when it's untouched and the pages are uncreased. Oh, it's beautiful. Um, and yeah, I love maths. Sounds super nerdy,
yeah,
but I really enjoy it, and
not
it's a
at all.
challenge.
That's great. You've dropped so many different nuggets along the way there, from teaching judo and obviously the achievements that you've had. I'm going to put the stationery bit aside for the moment, but talk to a bit about maths. You say you love maths. Is that something that you felt all through your life?
Yeah, I think so. My dad's a maths teacher, so that helped a lot when it came to revision. I'd just do a paper and give it to him, and he could tell me how I did. But I did maths a year early at my school. We did it in year 10. So I think it was always like, obviously, alongside sport, I'm very passionate about sport and love PE. That was probably like my strongest subject. And I just love puzzles and problem solving, and it's trying to get that across to the students, which is sometimes a challenge. I love it when they get a set and it's like cool to be clever and they're competing and bouncing off each other, and that to me is like a fantastic lesson. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. And so, whilst you were competing in judo, was teaching always sort of this path that you had going on?
Yeah, I think so. I think I had one other dream where was to own a coffee shop and have like muffin door handles. No idea why. That's as far as the dream went. Never went past that. Um, but yeah, I think I always wanted to be a teacher. And then kind of put it on pause. I did 4 years where I, after school, just did training at the National Centre. Then I did sport and exercise science at Bath Uni, which has nothing to do with well, it's got some maths on there, biomechanics, but not really like mathsy. But I really enjoyed
Mm.
that, and like that kind of went alongside training full time. That was really, really hard doing the whole full time judo,
Yeah,
um, full time uni thing. Then, but
I bet it was.
it was really good place. I feel really lucky I got to do it there, and it was a really nice city and everything around it. Even the lecturers are really supportive and helping me catch up.
Mm.
Although I do have a side note. So I remember because I did a trip to China and somewhere else, I missed a few weeks of uni. So then I've gone back into my lecture, and at the time we shared it with like pharmacists and loads of other lecturers. So we were in a mass theatre, and I'm watching like cars on the screen, thinking I've clearly missed like a really big jump in the 3 weeks I've been away. But it's fine. Like I often don't understand what's going on in the lectures, so I sat through it all. And then I came out and I saw all my course turning up, and I was like, oh, now is my lecture starting. So I just sat through a whole mechanics lecture and didn't even realise. So yeah, that kind of sums up my uni life.
Well, it
Then
sounds
off,
like you do. Sounds like you were doing only what's in front of you, rather than thinking too far ahead at that instance.
yeah, definitely like one day at a time. I spent most
Yeah,
of my uni days injured, I think, on crutches or having a knee
right.
operation. So I think I couldn't have passed my uni if I wasn't broken so much. So there's a silver lining to everything.
Yes, good
Um,
situation. A bad. Well, well, actually, before I jump into that, because that's an interesting perspective on being injured. I'm just taken back about judo, and so how did sport in general? You know, you come from a family of teachers. How important was sport for you as you were growing up?
I think I was really lucky. I had really committed parents, so they did the whole take me to every after school club, whatever they could do. I tried everything. I mean, my sister was probably the one that was talented at everything. I just tried hard at everything and stuck at one.
Mm. And what
But
sports were you doing then as you grew up?
so I did try gymnastics. Gosh, I was rubbish at that. But I think gymnastics like sets you up for loads of different sports. That was my sister's one. Um, Obviously judo. I remember I was doing swimming, but it came to the point where it was I needed to do an extra night if I progressed at judo, and that would have taken up swimming. So it was eventually I had to choose, because I
Mhm.
think early on doing loads of different sports really helped just make you an all round sports person, I guess. But then judo kind of then started to take over my life more and more, and I realised that was
Mm.
where my loyalties lied, and that's what I wanted to
Right.
do.
And roughly how old were you where you had those decisions were being made?
So I started at 8, and then it was I probably knew by secondary school that I loved judo. So I guess it's in primary when it was.
Mm.
I think swimming was on a Saturday, and judo competitions meant I was away all the time, so I wasn't going to be able to like progress with that. But like at school, I'd do the hockey, I'd do netball, I'd do anything that was available. I'd try it. I remember I had to do athletics. I think I did 800 or 1500 in a cast because I'd broken my wrist doing judo, but I could still
Yeah.
run.
Yes.
Um, so
So,
yeah, I'd just try everything.
yeah, so it was really that early teens where you started to think, hold on, these other sports are going to have to stop at some point now and put more effort into judo or more time into judo. And so what were those early years like for you? How did you know you were good at judo? Like there was something here.
Uh, I guess like when you're younger, you aim every year for like the national championships. So then you'd always just aim for the next one, and then maybe I won one year, and then I won it again the next year. And then I think obviously the more times that happens, like people start to notice. I think someone actually asked me that question recently, and I was like, I'm not sure, but I remember as a junior. I missed my last year through injury, but my second to last year of juniors, I won the
Oh, uh,
Junior European Championships bronze. I got bronze at the Junior World Championships, and then I remember like being really tired by this point and just being really, really happy with how it's gone and just wanting to kind of finish the year. And I had to do the under 23 European Championships as well. And I remember going out to the bronze fight thinking, I really need a wee. I could do with not fighting right now. And my coach just shouting at me, Kate Howie. And I was like, okay, need to win this. Gonna get in trouble if I don't. So obviously afterwards, I was super happy that I'd done that, because that was like at the next age group, and I was very grateful for being shouted at and told to get on with the
Yeah.
fight. But then I guess just eventually I started to like have confidence. I remember actually a cadet, so before that, um I think
So
I
before
won
that, as in
sorry,
17.
aged fans. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was cadets. I won a DVD player actually. I won a competition in Ukraine, and at the start I remember I think I'd text my parents the day before or something saying, I'm really sorry, I'm going to lose, because I saw all these really big, scary people that I was going to fight. And never ever thought, oh, I was going to win it. So then it was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm actually one of these scary
You're
people
one of the big
walking
scary people.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that competition, actually, I think my parents and their friends, they met Whitesnake on the plane. So they have way more fun on these competition trips than I did, I think. And then they end up getting VIP tickets to like Whitesnake concert. And I mean, they probably didn't even know who they were, but yeah, they definitely enjoy I get nervous and have to try and fight hard, and they have
Yeah.
really nice
It's
times and better
nice time to
stories.
enjoy. Yeah, enjoying the
Yeah,
atmosphere, meeting people in the crowd. So
literally.
you, so this, I guess I'm joking. Do you think they put you into sport so that they could get VIP tickets and visit nice cities?
I guess looking back now, I think it seems that way. Literally, like they go on holidays. I couldn't ask for some more supportive family. I mean, my auntie and uncle missed their flight one time to watch me in Germany. So then they ended up traveling through the night, and I think it was the worst competition I've ever had in my life. I was on the mat for less than 10 seconds. And all I could say was, I'm sorry. Like the
Hmm.
week after, I think, or 2 weeks later, I got a Paris Grand Slam medal. And that was probably one of the best results of my life. But that just sums up judo. That's how it can go. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm very grateful for them. I remember crying one time because my mum would come out and I'd lost. And I just felt so guilty, because it's like it was an extra pressure and I didn't want to let them down. And she said to me, and it kind of stuck with me, like she'd rather be there when I lost, because that's when she wants to be there to support me, than when I
Mm.
win. Obviously, they love it when I win, and I love having them there. But that kind of stuck with me, because, and I'm sure lots of other people like feel that pressure, and you don't want to let people down. So it was really nice that I know they'd support me whether I won or lost or anything.
Hi, I want to take this moment to thank Upskilled and their mini MBA for sponsoring this week's session. One of the great things about their mini MBA is it allows you to gain the skills and knowledge to help propel you that little bit further forward. It gets you understanding the vocabulary in the room, and also gives you some of those skills to navigate the corporate career, the government career, or indeed stepping into not for profit. So, big thanks for Upskilled and the mini MBA for sponsoring this week. And hey, check it out. Link in the show notes. You can get $500 off. That's wonderful. That really is. That sounds like the kind of support that you need in your corner,
Yeah.
especially doing as you're traveling around overseas, very young, and and fighting. And
Yeah.
yeah. So when you think of those sort of times that the 16, 17, winning those tournaments, what dream did you have about where judo could take you?
So I remember standing in a school assembly. This was at secondary school, and there was, I don't know why, there was a few of us as judo, and we were stood at the front, and we got asked like, "What's your dream?" And I said to win the Olympic gold medal. And people next to me like didn't say that, and I remember thinking, but isn't that everybody's dream? Like, isn't that the dream? Like, why aren't you saying the same as me? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I never achieved that. And another school assembly, actually, I remember someone saying, if you aim for the moon, and if you miss, you're amongst the stars. And it's the cheesiest
Mhm.
thing ever, and I completely like think that. But that's genuinely how I feel. Like I aimed for the Olympic gold medal. I never
Mm.
got that Olympic gold medal, but I'm still proud of what I have achieved. And so it's
Mhm.
okay to say, yeah, that was what I aimed for, but I didn't reach it. But along the way, I think judo has literally given me the best life I could have asked for. Like experiences I never would have had if it wasn't for doing judo.
Right. And which is wonderful. And as you say, if you're aiming for the top, shoot for the moon, hit the stars, but yet you're dreaming big, aren't you? And
Yeah,
that dream, it sounds like it fuels you. It kept you going.
yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, I had some 12 operations, wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Nobody's career is easy. I do think to be a teacher as well, you've got to be a little bit crazy because I feel like it's hard. You put yourself through a very, very hard times, and obviously 12 operations. I remember after my neck operation lying, because obviously neck is high risk, like, well, they look after you, and there was like tubes coming at me everywhere, and I'm lying on the bed thinking judo isn't worth this. Like, what am I doing to myself? And then I think my best results have come since then. So I'm lying there thinking I'm at rock bottom, like it can't,
Yeah.
what am I doing? And then somehow, only by taking it one day at a time, because obviously at that point I didn't see a future in judo. I couldn't, it was like too hard and too sad and too far away. But somehow
Mm.
I kept moving, and then again I'm back on the mat and winning fights.
Yeah. So interesting thing there about what you're talking about. You've mentioned these 12 operations, which to me means you've clearly had more injuries than operations, right? Um, well, unless any injury you have an operation, but I'm assuming you've had more injuries. Do you
Yeah,
know? You said you missed out on the last year of the under 18s, last year of bin juniors. You were injured.
under 20s, I think it
Under
was.
20s, yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
last year of under 20s, you missed it through injury. Was that your when was the first big injury that you had, and how did you sort of feel going into that injury?
Yeah, that was definitely probably the first. I mean, I'd tweaked my knee a bit and missed a training camp before then, but I genuinely think when you're younger, you feel invincible. Like I'd done my knee, so that was at a training camp, and my knee had popped, and I remember in judo you tap to like say I quit the fight, and we were just in a training camp, and I was tapping the mat as if to say, "I stop now, please. Can the pain go away?" But obviously the pain wasn't going to go away. Um, and I remember saying to the surgeon, I want to fight anyway. So obviously he was saying the right thing to do would be to have the operation. That's ACL, was a 9-month operation and recovery, and that would have
Hmm.
meant missing my junior Europeans and Worlds, which I did. And at the
Hmm.
time, that was the biggest, like the most important thing. That was my life. Like genuinely, like it sounds unhealthy. It is unhealthy. That was my life. And I said to him, I'm going to fight it anyway. And he said, like, if you were my daughter, I would tell you not to fight. And I knew how serious he was and what he, and everyone said to me at the time, it's about the bigger picture. Um, and I couldn't see that there and then. So then my first I when I first got a bronze medal at the senior European Championships, like I can't describe what that meant, because ever since missing out on my last Europeans and everyone said it's about the bigger picture, I thought, well, unless I get something at the seniors, I've missed that bigger picture. And yes, everyone said, oh, it's the bigger picture, but maybe that was my only chance. So it was almost like relief getting a senior European medal, because I was like, okay, I get it now. I see that I managed to get the bigger picture kind of thing. So yeah, judo is
Yeah.
the biggest highs, and the big sport, I think, is the biggest highs and the biggest lows.
Yes. Yeah. And just there, you've described a huge low, not making the European, thinking this was it, and then the big high of actually then coming back out and achieving it. And the reason I'm interested then is kind of in that. I'm sort of picking apart that mindset for you going into it and then coming out. It feels like that bounce that propelled you to sort of to achieve, so that it wasn't in wasted effort.
Yeah, I never saw it like that before. Um, that's very true. And I think yeah, I don't know if it's the ADHD and the tunnel vision, but like I had that goal and I was going to do whatever it takes to have that goal.
Mhm.
And I mean, I cried so many times. Like friends and family got me through it, and I screamed. I remember my coach, after one of the MRI results, just took me. We went to Haagen
Yeah.
Dazs Cafe. There's nothing else you can do. um,
What's your flavour?
and uh,
What's your preferred
something
flavour?
chocolatey, or I don't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
anything. I like more than one. Never one scoop.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm with you on that
um,
as well. Don't worry.
and just taking it. a day at a time. And I think I remember going away, like team will go away for competitions and training camps, and I'd be stuck at the gym. And I genuinely sometimes would just cry my way for a weight session
Mm.
because I was
Because
just it was sad. Like I wanted to be with the team, and that's where just like a little call from a coach checking in, like Jamie would call to say, "How's it going?" and just make me still feel like part of that team. And it's such a little thing that made such a big difference to be like, "Oh, I haven't been forgotten and left in the gym by myself." To yeah.
interesting. Yeah, fascinating. I wouldn't have thought that a judoka, you would have this sense of team.
No,
Uh,
that's true, and I said it when I was coaching today because I was like, yeah, it's an individual sport, but if I haven't got training partners, I'm not going to get any better. So actually, it's a massive team sport to me. I mean, they actually have a teams event in the Olympics now, which is awesome, and that's new.
yeah.
Um, but we can't get anywhere without our team, and in the gym. I remember, so junior, I think it was one where we did really well, the junior Europeans and worlds, and we took a really small team. And I know there was obviously like a lot of uh, not happy people at the time because they were like, "Why are you only taking this many people?" And the coach said, "But it's almost like who you surround yourself with like lifts you up, and they'd rather have a small, really strong team because then you're seeing them winning and it's inspiring you and it like kind of like
Mm.
bouncing off each other." And actually, that's kind of what happened. We got loads of medals over those two competitions, and it's almost like I saw that person get a medal, so I can do it, and it just lifts you up together, I think.
It
And there's
fumes
a
you.
massive
Yeah.
team spirit in judo, I think.
Right. Yeah, interesting. And I haven't really thought of it in that way. Although I guess the judokas who I meet and speak with do talk very fondly about those around them. So, um, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess there was that team element. Well, so now for you then, coming up, i- injuries, but being part of this team driving forward, what were you doing from an academic, or how are you funding yourself? What were you doing from the funding perspective and that sort of education path?
So I took like 4 years out of education before I was a student. Obviously at uni I had like the student loan, but I was on UK Sport National Lottery grant.
Yeah.
So basically, like everyone playing the lottery, so keep playing the lottery, supporting the athletes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, got me through. So if you hit a certain criteria of like results, then you get this much money. So there were times when I didn't hit and it was struggling. Um, I
Talk to me
mean,
about that. I mean, it's like
athletes are never rich.
yeah, a year you have it, a year you don't. I suppose I'm less about the structure and things like that, but more, what did you then do when? And I'm guessing it was because of an injury, because you must have been out, so you couldn't achieve those highs. So you were you were figuring things out yourself. What did you do then?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to get a job. I remember I tried to apply for a job at Subway. And they were like, "Can you work this weekend?" I was like, "I'm away this weekend." "What about the one after?" "I'm away that one." "What about the one after?" "I'm away that one." And they were like, "We'll get back to you." And I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be possible." So yeah, like towards the end, actually, a few of us did work in a bar, like opposite the judo center. But mostly, like my mum's helped me, my dad's helped me, and you just kind of do what you've got to do. Like I was lucky the funding did help me and covered everything. Um, and you don't really have time for loads of holidays then anyway. Like you're going away all these places, and it's like,
Competing it,
yeah,
yeah.
literally.
But it's funny, isn't it? As an athlete, you're competing like you luckily around globally, so nationally and globally, but you don't necessarily feel like you're on a holiday.
Oh no, definitely not. So like we sometimes everyone's thinking, "Oh, you've seen all these places," and genuinely, I'd feel thought I've done Rome. I don't need to go to Rome. And then I watched Emily in Paris go to Rome, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Rome is so pretty. I need to go to Rome." I haven't actually seen Rome, but sometimes when we go further afield, that's when it's better. Because if we go to Japan for a couple of weeks, you've got the weekend off, so you can go exploring. And I absolutely
Yeah.
love Japan. Obviously, it helps. Judo's from Japan. And like we've done rock sliding in Samoa. We've some when you're far away and you need to kind of have some jet lag days. That's when it's really good. And like for example, our flight got cancelled coming back from Mexico, so somehow we got put up in a 5-star hotel. I mean, that's the rare occasion, and that was incredible
Y-
because often you're in the. We went to Orenburg, and there was bugs all over in Russia. There was bugs all over like our clothes, and we're hanging up our clothes, and we've kind of experienced both ends of this. We've slept on judo mats. Like you literally go
Yeah.
from one extreme to the next.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is, yeah, I suppose that is the trouble. Or it looks like the glitz and glamour from an external perspective at times, but for
Yeah,
you, you've had to live, you've traveled through the good and the bad. You say you took off 4 years from your studies. Um, does that mean you started uni and then stopped, or was it I'm just going to wait?
it was. I'm going to live the dream for 4 years,
And so
and just
what was
be.
that? Go on, what was that dream? What was that dream at least supposed to be?
I guess. I mean, I say live the dream, like live the dream with whatever you call them quotations, because
Yeah,
it is, and I was really really lucky that I was able to do that. But I mean, dieting, I haven't mentioned the dieting part of the weight category sport. I was 57 kilos, like the cycle before London, until politics, and I moved up, and we won't go into that. Um, but I was 57 kilos, and I didn't get to eat very much for 57 kilos. And so, yes, I'm not doing anything else and I'm just doing sport. It really wasn't the dream. Like, I dreamt of
right.
stopping judo lots of times during that. I literally, I
Because
think, because not eating isn't fun. Like, food makes me happy, and I couldn't have it very much. I remember, like, I'd live off basically porridge and fruit for like 2 weeks before competitions sometimes. Um, and then sweating off. I'm dramatic anyway, so sweating off a few
yeah,
kilos, just not fun. Just now,
no,
like if I have to diet and I don't, if I ever try and like lose weight or something without the motivation of those scales, it's just not possible.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, I guess we do need a motivation for these things. But I'm interested. You talk about so you were able to go full time. You were moving in to live this dream. That was sort of the idea, right?
yeah,
And but for you, then it was because of the weight category. Just managing that diet was probably one of the big challenges, or
yeah,
managing the weight
100%.
class. Sorry.
Yeah, because I think as well, if you don't make it very well, like I remember, so I was 57s and the category above me was 63 kilograms. So I competed at the weekend at 57 kilograms and I'd got on the scales like, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 days later, and I was 63 kilograms because you just yo-yo. So the harder you cut,
Yeah.
the more it comes
Yeah.
back on. So
Right.
then it just got worse and it was just really hard. It's not like sports where you don't compete for like 4 months at a time. Like judo, you sometimes competing like a few times a month. So you're having to keep
Right.
making that weight. Um, and it was miserable. Like, so obviously on top of my training and then doing an extra run every morning. Like now if I go for a run, that's my exercise for like 3 days, but like back then that was just what I'd do before breakfast. Then I've got a full day of
Yeah.
training, so it was like, yeah, it's hard, and it can be, so I say the whole team thing, but that can be quite a lonely place. Like you've obviously got to deal with that weight loss by yourself. um
Mhm.
and we talk, and I just look through food magazines at all the food that I couldn't have and torture myself, and just did
Gosh,
what you got to do to get through it.
I mean, that's not okay. I'm not in a trained position to say it, but it doesn't sound like a healthy relationship with food and weight in order to do a sport that you're in love with.
No, and I mean, I don't want to speak bad of judo. I genuinely think it's the best sport in the world, and I'd tell anyone to get into it. But that's not healthy. I didn't have a relationship with food, and I do think it
Mm.
affects people. It, like we don't kind of like say it's an eating disorder because it's just a given. It's like it's what you do. But and I mean, that wasn't healthy, and I don't recommend that at all. Like I moved up and actually got my best results in weight
Yeah.
categories higher, so that like it
Mhm.
was just, you kind of hang on till the end of a cycle, because obviously judo always works in cycles. um and obviously I got moved up before I think I should have got moved up. But yeah, I don't by any means recommend that, but sometimes you do find yourselves in situations like that,
Mhm.
and I do think sports and athletes do have mental health things with their diet. Like I
Mhm.
genuinely thought if I wasn't 57 kilograms, I was fat, which is a stupid thing to say because I was still super skinny at 63 kilograms, but because the weight told me that's what I should be, my head
Mm.
thought that's what I should be, and if I wasn't that, that's not okay. So it takes, and just an obsession with weighing. Like I can go like weeks now without weighing myself, but back then I'd weigh myself morning and night every single day. Like
Mm.
I think it's almost because I didn't want to, if I was putting weight on, I'd rather it went on gradually than suddenly I got on and it got really heavy, and that would scare me too much. So I'd rather watch it daily, go up and touch
Right.
myself that way. But it's not okay to be
Interesting.
thinking that. And I'd secretly, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot I did this. So I mean, I'm on my second Labrador now. I had a fatter one before. She was the one with, they got the genes and it's not their fault. But we'd go to my mom's house and I know that she'd keep like the cakes and stuff in a bread tin. So I'd go in the kitchen and Roxy was eating the cat food, and I'm trying to sneakily lift the bread tin lid off so my mum can't hear me. And she'd be like, from the other room, I can hear you. Like, but I'm trying to eat because I'm dieting and I'm not meant to be eating. So it almost like, because it's on your mind so much, I was making it harder for myself and eating cakes. And I'd be like, oh, I'd do the whole diet starts on Monday, which means I need to stay up until 12 o'clock Sunday night and eat as much as I possibly can
Um, yeah.
because diet starts on Monday. Like, how stupid is that? If I just ate less on the Sunday, Monday wouldn't be as bad.
That
Yeah, that sounds really
amazing.
messed up saying it out loud.
Yeah, it does. But thank you for sharing it, and thanks for saying it because there are going to be athletes, there are going to be everyday people listening to this, and one not being aware of what you were going through, never mind what other athletes are perhaps having to deal with, that goes beyond the actual competition. Being on the mat itself. This is just it's just the stuff that we're having to go through or deal with, and that
Yeah,
that must have been really hard to be doing that without saying it out loud.
yeah. So I guess like when I say living the dream, it's very different to what people see, and obviously it looks like, oh wow, and I am super grateful I got to do that. Like it really is. I was living the dream, but the dream is not quite as flowery and as you think it might be.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was it that after the 4 years, you said you took 4 years out of study?
Yeah.
What is it that made you think it was time to go back and or go and study something?
So I always knew like I wanted to do teaching afterwards, and I didn't want to get to my end of my career and then have to start doing my degree then, because that obviously would delay me even further. And I do think like injuries helped. So
What do you
just
mean helped?
sorry, so as in being injured and I can't do the sport that I wanted to do, like made me realize how important it is to have something else. Like your athlete career can literally end at any point. And even just for my head, so I wasn't going away and traveling with everybody else. Like my head overthinks as it is, so it can just like go crazy. So just having that other thing, and it meant, or even not when I was injured, when I was competing, if judo didn't go well, that was my everything. That was all I had, so that was my life basically, like riding on that competition. So if that hadn't gone well, my life was very rubbish at that point. Whereas at least then if I had uni assignments or anything or just something else, I just think it's a much healthier balance. So you're not so obsessive over just the one thing. Because I think it almost has to be an obsession in a way, because it's hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, kind of thing. But it's just really healthy to have that something else that can take your mind off it,
Mm. And did
like
it
a dog.
succeed? Like it,
Uh,
did it succeed? Did it take your mind off it?
yeah, I do think. I mean, especially during the time that I did my uni, I was broken a lot, so it
Mhm.
was really, really good for me not to be just left in the gym by myself, like while everyone's away training. Like I had lectures to go to and other people to talk about other things too, and yeah, it was healthier, that's for sure.
So during that time, you had this balance between the studies and rehabilitation. At, at what point, or to what extent, did you think I've got to quit the sport? It's too much.
So I think in 2016, like I spent most of that cycle injured and I didn't go to Rio, and I thought I'm going to quit. Like I genuinely started talking to people about it. And I mean, that wasn't the last time I did it. Um, because I just thought I've got to think of like the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
again, so I taken it one day at a time, somehow found myself keeping going, and then getting the result, and you kind of get that buzz again, and it's possible again. Um, and and then I actually, after the Commonwealth Games, I think it was, I was going to quit. I say quit, it sounds so horrible, retire, but yeah. And
It was in the 20, what, 18?
no,
2018?
definitely 2022, 2020,
22.
yeah,
Okay.
2022 games, the home ones
All
in
right.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
um
Okay. So because you did then, you did Tokyo, the coat. So you
in
did,
Tokyo 2021, and then
yeah.
and then Birmingham after. And I thought I wanted to quit, and I just kept crying, and I was like, I felt like I was like breaking my own heart. I was like, well, why am I doing this to myself? I obviously don't want to, but I was trying to convince myself. And I remember my family commented on that holiday. We'd gone to see my auntie and uncle in the south of France, and I was eating loads as if I was trying to get so heavy and so far away from my weight that that would be the reason
Mhm.
I had to stop. And I
Right.
still wasn't getting that heavy. So I was like, that reason to stop wasn't there. And I spoke to my coach, and I was like, I'm obviously not ready to stop. And then I came back and snapped my bicep tendon.
Hmm.
Because I remember being in the gym, and it's called like Popeye eye because it just goes really
It
big.
goes on all the way up. Yes.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that when that does that weird thing? Ooh.
Um and I sent a picture to the physio, and doctor had already gone out to the World Championships, I think it was at the time, and I sent them a picture like, I don't think my arm's meant to look like this. I've got a bump.
Yeah.
um but I forgot where I was going because I talked so much, sorry. So
22.
oh, I
We
was
were
quitting.
thinking you were trying
Yeah.
you you were sort of trying to give yourself an excuse to quit.
Oh yeah, and somehow I've jumped to a different story that was at the end of my career, so I've
But
mixed two stories together
well,
because my head's like
but I suppose
that.
I'm in. Well, I guess we'll come back to it very soon because I'm interested then in you thinking that it was time to quit. You've just done the home games. I guess it feels like it's a great way to leave, and it's like, woohoo, we've
Yeah.
done this. I've done my Olympics. That was a dream. Um, I've medaled at the home com games. Off I go. Did you think then? I guess you're looking back, so it's a bit hard to say. But was it right? I should now leave the sport because I'm to an extent kind of on top. This is when I should leave, or was it?
Yeah,
It's time to get on with my life. I'm going into teaching. I want to do all these things.
I think I remembered where I was going now before. So yeah, I think I just realized I love judo so much I didn't want to stop it. So then
Mm,
when my body kind of snapped again, and the surgeon said to me like, this is career ending, um and it's almost like that was my body saying enough's enough, like
mhm,
yeah, because like I said, every operation I was like, this is, if it happens again, it's got to be the last one. And I just kept going. I think my head isn't good at stopping and saying when. So I felt like that my body took that decision from me, which meant I was kind of at peace, because I always thought I'd be too sad to watch judo on the telly or cheer other people on, because I'd be
mhm,
wanting to do it. But I feel like because my body stopped when it was ready to stop, like I can
mhm.
cheer on and be really happy and really excited to watch people fighting without that like sadness. I mean,
Yes.
I did like a master, not I did a session where a Japanese judo person was taking, like, he's fantastic, and he was taking a session, and I was really learning lots, and I got that buzz again to be like, oh, like I don't know, it's that excited feeling, I can't describe it. But then I was also super excited to take what I'd learned like back to the club, and pass that on to other people. Like I always
Mhm,
thought after judo I'd hang up my kits and I'd have nothing to do with it ever again, and that would be my career, and I put myself through enough and put it behind me. But it's been like the complete opposite. I realized there's so much more to judo than just the competition side,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
loving just being a part of it, and it's my happy place basically.
yes. So I've just got a bit of a time confusion for me. So you you did Paris.
Yeah.
Your bicep was before
Paris.
or
No, not Paris. I'm confused now. Are you talking about Olympics?
Olympics?
Tokyo is my last one.
Tokyo. Yeah. So you did
Yeah.
Tokyo. You did then the Com Games.
Yeah.
Um, you thought it was time for you to quit. Um,
So
because
I
you
did
should
the
do.
Yeah, I came back from the Commonwealths, wanted to quit, didn't quit, carried on, because I was
Yeah.
like, why am I quitting? I'm torturing myself. And then
Yes.
my arm snapped
That makes sense.
before
That's
Paris.
right.
So I
Yes.
was like,
Good.
okay.
Yes. Because I was like, I didn't think you did Paris, but okay.
No,
All right.
didn't.
Um, that's missed a whole few years. Okay. So we're back into this thing then of you saying, right, it is time. You had somewhat of a, I want to then understand, yes, you knew you wanted to quit. How clear was your plan? How clear did you know I'm stopping now and boom, next day I'm doing this? What was that like for you, that moment?
Oh, so you've just reminded me actually what also happened. So after the Commonwealth, when I thought I wanted to quit, I started my PGCE, which is the teacher training, which was always the plan after judo. Um, and then it was getting to the point where it was going to be like placements in a school, so I wasn't going to be able to do, because at the time my uni was on the same campus as my judo, so I could literally go to one and run into the other. But then it was I was going to be placed in a school, so I wouldn't be able to train full time. So I kind of had to make that decision, and that's when I made the decision. I found out I could postpone it and go back, pause it basically, and go back to it like a year later. So I paused it and did the judo, and my arm snapped. So I was kind of already had that waiting to go
Yeah.
back.
And how did that feel? How did that feel knowing I am actually retiring now?
I remember doing the interview for British Judo, and I felt like I'd not really said it out loud. I didn't really want to tell anyone, because saying it, like, I mean, athletes talk all the time about this identity, but it's a real thing. Like, my Twitter name is Judo Gem. Like, that's me. And I mean, a teacher was helping me today, and he came and he was like, "Oh, you're working with the Olympic athlete," and obviously that's what other people know me as. I'm the judo person. So losing that identity is scary. Like I said, it's all I've known, and almost you don't realize how we're so looked after at judo. Like, you have a nutritionist, a psychologist, an S&C coach, like your judo coach who wears all the hats and is like everything, physio, doctor, and then you're like thrown into normal life, and it's like, there you go, do it on yourself, do it by yourself, and it's like, what do I do now? But I remember actually PGC was really, really, really hard, and I feel like I didn't have time to kind of dwell on that. Like, it actually, I remember thinking, I'm so busy, I don't have time to be sad that I'm not doing judo. So that was a good thing. That kind of just like, I jumped straight in the deep end, I feel like,
Right. So the
um, and that
so
helped.
that yeah, that the PGCE, which is probably something like a postgrad cert in education or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
something along those lines. But for those who aren't in England thinking, what on earth is this PGCE? It is effectively
Yeah,
this. It can be quite intense, top on to a degree that gives you the ability to teach. All right, it's like that
yeah,
teaching certificate, if anything, reasonably intense. Is it a year sort of focused
yeah.
in? Yep.
So I
But
did
then
one
that's where you do the
semester
placements.
pause, and then the 2 semesters, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's, and like, it genuinely is, as a teacher, like, experience helps you. And I kind of I felt like I was starting at the bottom, because I've done like coaching, I've done this,
Yeah.
but teaching, I was starting at the bottom, a lot older than maybe some teachers, so it was kind of scary and hard. But I do think like the judo helps, like, it gives you that confidence, that I don't know, I like to think it helps.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I'm sure there's, like you say, that you whilst you're starting at the bottom from a teaching level perspective, that's what I'm coming into. You are, you know, able to bring some of your life experience, travel experience, competitive experience into your teaching.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Like, there's so many transferable skills. Like, even today in a feedback from a session that I did, he was like, resilience, and I was like, well, that makes sense, since I've had 12 operations, and everyone says that kind of like develops that resilience. So I think there's lots of things that judo's given me that I think can help with other, like, I
Mm.
mean, for one, it shows you're prepared to put the work in and you care and you try, and they're all things that you need in a classroom where you've got 30 kids to try and help, and you need to care and try hard when it's hard, and keep picking yourself back up. So
Yeah.
it's like it's harder than a judo competition sometimes. I feel like I can't describe it. I come out like
Yeah.
sweating.
What age are you teaching?
Secondary, so years 7 to 11, and I
Mhm.
should know their names. It's like their ages. I mean, like 12 to 16 or something like that.
Yes, yeah, yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, so 12 to 16-year-olds maths. So that's when maths is starting to get pretty serious in terms of actually it is probably some of the hardest times of maths because it's so broad and you have to take up to 16. But I suppose what for me is quite interesting is it's clear what you brought with you. You talk about resilience, you talk about that hard work and a sense of care. What do you think you had to leave behind from being a judo athlete, Olympian? What do you have to leave behind to become an effective teacher?
Uh, what do you mean by like leave behind?
Well, there were certain traits, there are certain strengths that made you a world-class judo athlete.
Yeah,
When you step away from that, you're moving into now a teaching environment.
yeah,
There are elements that you can say that you brought with you. I have to be resilient.
yeah.
Great, I can keep doing that. I've got to do the hard work. Are there any things that you switched on to be an awesome judoka that you then have to switch off or dial down to work in a school?
Fighting. Like, that's the first thing that comes to my head. You can't fight your way through a classroom, unfortunately. I feel like that would make life a lot easier sometimes. You can't do that. I'm trying to think what else. I think so. With teaching, you can never do enough. So almost at some points you've got to be like when I was marking the other day until 10:30, I still had marking to do, but I was like, I need to call it. Like, and I feel like with sport, again, I guess you could still never do enough, but you're kind of, I don't know, I trusted in my coaches and they'd tell me, this is your plan, you do this kind of thing. Like, and I trust
Mhm.
in that process and I do what they told me to do. So once I've done my weight session, I can go home and I can turn the telly on or something. But with teaching, there's always more to do, and you've got to, for your life, like, so you don't burn out, you've got to know when to stop. And that's,
Mhm.
I think, as a new teacher, that's also hard.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, but I suppose the consistency that comes with it is the training. Well, not the training, but that having a plan. And you
Yeah,
mentioned earlier, in judo, you looked after. Someone gives you that plan that you can trust.
yeah.
And perhaps in teaching, well, whilst there's a curriculum, you're the one who you still kind of set a bit of a plan for each of the children that you are teaching and having to help them to achieve their different goals.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know how much is like okay to say, but for example, I'm trying to get students to do their homeworks, and if they're not, I stayed and did phone calls to try and get them to do their homework because I think it will help them and care about them. I'm not getting paid more money because I've stayed
Mm.
to do phone calls, but I'm doing that, yeah, because I want to and I care, and I like to think that they know that I care. But sometimes
Yeah,
it's, yeah, it's lots of different kind of challenges at school.
yeah, yes, there is. And, I think you said earlier on, teaching was always you were surrounded by teachers growing up around you in the family. So you always felt like it was something that you were going to go into next. Look, you're a few years, 4 years or a few years into now as a teacher. It's very early in that transition phase, but how is it feeling?
uh, they're not lying when they say it gets easier, and I do believe that. But kind of a side note, but similar. So what something that I miss from being an athlete is, like, I remember just before the Commonwealth, and there would have been a few times, like, you get that feeling where you know you're really fit, you believe in yourself, and you've got that kind of buzz, and it's sad I will never get that again. Like, I am never going to feel as fit as I did. I'm never going to be as strong. So no matter what I do in the gym, and hopefully that will wear off. But now if I do anything, I can't help compare it to when I was training full time, when I was at the strongest and fittest in my life. And it's kind of sad. Like, me and my sister did work out on holiday, and she's far more motivated than me, like without having to do it. Like, I struggle. But just the feeling of not being as fit as that is really hard. I've just found some classes at 24/7 Fitness where, you watch the memes on the and everybody's having the time of their life, and it's a full class of happy people. And because I remember when I did break myself, and they said to me, you're going to have to do rehab for the rest of your life, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But it's almost like these classes have got the strength and the rehab exercises that I need to do. So to me, like, we've got a gym at our school, and someone was asking about today, and I was like, yeah, it's lovely, I walk past it all the time, I don't go in it. Like, finding that motivation to train when I haven't got to is very different. But yeah, the classes genuinely, like, for me, I'm happy.
Yeah.
It took a while. I tried training by myself and I didn't like it, and I tried loads of different things, but for me, I found the classes is it, I I'll drag myself off the sofa on a Friday when all I want to do is sit down and fall asleep to go to these classes. And so I feel like I'm happy that I've found that thing that will keep me healthy,
Yeah.
head and body.
Yeah, mind and body, keeping you healthy, keeping you active. And it is what we need. And we often forget that, as or often so many people that I speak with forget that they need to keep moving, as because you've done it for so much of your life that just stopping is kind of not, it's certainly not a healthy option.
Yeah, literally. So I came home from school this week, and I remember it was a hard day. We'll call it hard, like, to, like, kind of summarize it. Um, and I thought, I really need. Also, or someone said to me, "Have a glass of wine." And I thought, I don't like to drink on a school night, but I thought it's been so hard. Maybe I need one. And I came home and I went for a run and I walked the dog, and I thought, I don't need one now. Like, to me, movement. I mean, I did get the squirty cream out, and I just had some squirty cream by itself, which isn't wonderful. I just needed something. But like, afterwards, I just felt, and that's been a few times I've come back from school and I've run like faster than I would if I'd got up on a weekend fresh or whatever, because
Mm.
I feel like it's helped my head like channel it. And last week I went to my judo club at Wolverhampton Judo Club, and I literally said, this is better than, I feel like, any therapy, anything, because
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, movement. You kind of hit, and to me specifically, judo is even better, I think. And like, just going there
Yeah.
genuinely is my happy place. And it's just, yeah, everybody, like, it's that team thing.
Mm.
Like, to me, my judo club is a second family.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, so you've stayed in that community, and but you're also giving back. You're also, as a coach now, taking classes, and indeed I think you're doing one today. So,
So
how,
that's after school club at my school. Yeah.
yes, so so how are you keeping involved in judo itself, and what are you doing as part of, I guess, the judo scene?
So I've got commentary actually, on Sunday. It's the national championship, so I'm commentating at that. And I mean, that was something I never thought I'd do. But, and again, like, didn't think I'd ever want to watch sport, but it kind of put me out of my comfort zone, which I think is always good, and exploring new things. So it's a bit scary, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, I did it last year, and that's
How
really
did you
fun.
get into how did you get into the commentary?
And we had an email through, and it was like basically an application for like commentating at the Olympic Games. Judo's got Neil Adams, and he's like a fantastic commentator. But I applied for it and I got onto this course and I tried it. I've never done it before. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And they were like, "Well, we don't need a judo person," but it was really good experience. And I think because of that, I then did it at the national championships, and I enjoyed it a lot more. I mean, it's just getting to watch the sport that I love, and talking. I can do that a lot too. But in terms of like, so I'm doing my favorite Wednesday and my judo day, and I've had feedback from teachers saying like, students have been more engaged in this than they've seen them in anything at their school life. So, and I mean, that really hits home to me. Like, judo isn't, I'm biased, but this is people that haven't loved judo,
Mm.
didn't know anything about judo, and they're benefiting from it. And like other classes, like teachers have said, students aren't necessarily good at winning or losing, but they're taking onto this really well and they're giving it everything. And like that, to me, I feel like I can't win fights. I'm not competing anymore, but that to me is like wins, like
Mm.
letting other people see what benefits judo can give them.
That's wonderful. And was it you that sort of drove the idea of doing it after school, or was it already there in the school that you went to?
So I'm really lucky. My head teacher loves judo. It was actually like my judo coach's wife who knows about the school and had grandchildren go there. Um, so that's why I went there. So I kind of went there knowing it's like the next town, that I went
Yeah,
there knowing city. I think it's city now. Knowing about the judo, um, and yeah, like I was again. It's out of my comfort zone. Like I've done master classes before. I've helped at my judo club, but having my own club, I was really scared. Um, just because I thought I don't know what I'm going to do, whatever. And then I've gone there and realised like this is what I've done my whole life. Like
yeah,
I can do judo. I know how to tell people how to do judo. Um, and yeah, like today had plan, got there, and different students have turned up, so changed the plan. And it's like, okay, I
right.
don't need to be scared about this. This is where I'm happy.
So that fear, that scaredness, how did you overcome it?
Uh, did it, and then you don't have a choice.
Mm.
Then like
Kind of
yeah,
what it
like my
sounds
head
like.
teacher
Yeah.
suggested it, and I was like, oh yeah, sounds brilliant. Didn't tell her I was scared. And then literally I left it buzzing tonight. Like
Mm.
whatever happened that day at school, and I go to the judo club, and yeah, left it really happy, and because they're
Great.
enjoying it, and I'm like, I want
Yeah.
other people to see. And actually, so I don't know if I should say this. Like I jokingly, if there's like people play fighting in the corridor or whatever, like, say, if you want to fight, go to judo. And then I was in my classroom the other day and I heard one of my students say to some other students, if you want to fight, go to judo. And I was like, yes. I don't care
That's
how
it.
cheesy and how
Another
like what
recruit.
much uncool I am, but I was like, I'm happy
Yeah.
they're spreading the word of judo.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And look, there's one bit we haven't really spoken on, and and you mentioned it to do with ADHD, and I'm interested then how how has that impacted you as a throughout your sport career? Was it something you knew when you were younger, or is it something that has been diagnosed more recently?
So I didn't get diagnosed till I was like 21 or something like that. But
Hmm.
when I told my friends, and I remember like my friend's dad saying, yeah, we knew that, Gemma, we've known all along you've had ADHD.
Yeah.
uh like I was always known for asking too many questions at judo. It'd be like, Gemma, have you got another question?
Hmm.
um and yeah, I think it's given me extra energy. So like now if we talk about it, and then obviously especially this is why I'm kind of also passionate about having a judo club at school, because for me that was my channel of energy. Like I just think I'd be bouncing off the walls in my house if they didn't have judo to send me to. So it's kind of good for my parents as well. And I see students at school like bouncing around the rooms, and I'm like, throw them into judo. Like I genuinely think it's such a good way to channel that energy,
Hmm.
and I maybe wouldn't have achieved what I'd got without it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's like a superpower. It's not like people speak about it negatively, and it's just something that I think if you channel it right, it can make good things, great things.
Yes, yeah. I suppose it's another reason for you to also keep active, keep within the sport now, whilst you're a teacher. But as a teacher, you've you've probably got a billion things going through your mind, because they're asking you questions as well.
Yeah, I do think that. Like, and you've got like 5 million students trying to ask you questions at the same time.
Yeah,
But
that's correct.
yeah, I'm
So
learning that.
yeah, so Gemma, I guess when you look back at your career and the transition that you've had, if a young athlete comes to you now and asks, what can I do to help me transition better into a career after sport? What sort of guidance from your experience would you give?
It's kind of like what I've spoken about with a teacher recently at school, because students might be really, really interested in their sport, and think they can just put education on not care about it. But actually, like I said, sport can end at any point. You need to make sure that you've also got that back up and say, yes, your education is important, you do it and you've got it for the rest of your life, which is why I was able to have that 4 year break, because I'd got my A levels, I'd got my GCSEs, they weren't going anywhere. But also, I genuinely think whilst I was injured so much before the Rio cycle, doing uni saved me. Sorry. Because just for that healthy balance of having something else, so that, and I think for me, sometimes when I put everything into it, I got my sleeping right, I got my eating right, I did absolutely everything I possibly could for a competition, and it didn't go well. And then actually, when I thought, so I did that for one European Championships, and I was devastated. I couldn't have done any more. I don't like I felt, and I thought, oh, maybe it's not that I don't care, but I'm not gonna watch every single thing that I eat and watch everything. And I won a Grand Prix like 2 weeks later. So it's almost like I've actually my best results. So my European Championships, when I won it, which genuinely was like the highest point in my life, the day before I wasn't sure if I was going to make weight. I wasn't thinking about who I'm fighting and overanalyzing everything I could possibly do. I was thinking, I'm not sure if I'm fighting. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I went, and I think having that balance is the most important thing, and that's what I've learned. My best results have come when I haven't been as obsessed with only having one thing.
Yeah. Gemma, that's great. Thanks for sharing that perspective. Thanks for bringing your whole perspective and your story to the show with us today. If people do want to get in touch, perhaps they're want to explore more judo, want to explore teaching after their career, where's a good place to get in contact with you?
So I'm on Instagram, Gemma Howell. I actually stopped going on Twitter since they took my blue tick away. But I am on X.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's obviously like the British Judo website. So,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
if you're in Australia, not British Judo website, that'd be quite
No,
far.
yeah, but listen, no, that's all good. Thank you. I'm sure people reach out. People are listening to this all over the world, and I think the lessons that you or your experience that you've shared goes beyond just being in the UK. It goes beyond just judo. So I really think that people are going to be able to take away a lot from listening to our conversation. And if they enjoyed it half as much as I did, it's going to be of great value. So Gemma, thanks again for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Sorry I talk so much. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's good. It's good. We want you to talk as much. You're sharing more. I really appreciate it. Thanks.